Good evening. I'm Mayor Jim Dietz from the village of Brown Lake. 2,977 lives were lost in the unprovoked attack by Al-Qaeda. Individuals from 70 countries died. The first casualties were the flight crew members who were murdered by the hijackers. 246 people on 4 airline flights were killed. 341 firefighters lost their lives. 60 police officers died. 10 medical emergency technicians and paramedics died. And 55 military personnel died. They were all going about their daily routines until the attack forever changed the lives of their families and of America. Our first speaker was the chair of the Lake County Board before seeking a seat in the Illinois Senate. Please join me in welcoming State Senator Suzi Schmidt.
Good evening. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you for having me here this evening. It's been a very busy weekend with all the wonderful events that are going on in the community. I also would like to thank all the men and women that serve this great county, this great state, and this great country, whether they be military, whether they be police officers, public works directors. Boy, we needed those guys a while ago, didn't we? When all the damage was done here in our lovely county. On September 11th, 2001, I know everybody remembers exactly where they were. It was a Tuesday. It was a county board day. We are live on TV, so anything that happens live on TV. The towers had already been hit, but we decided to go forward with our meeting and do it in a quick roll call. As I was sitting there during the early part of the meeting, somebody, I don't remember who it was, came up to me on the podium and said the Pentagon was hit. First thing I thought of was, this really is war. It was bad enough when the towers were hit, but when our Pentagon was hit, we really knew that this was war. At that time, our economy stopped. The lights went out, kind of like a few weeks ago. No. The lights went out, like I said, the economy came to a halt, cell phones weren't working, elevators weren't working, cars weren't working, nothing was working. Our whole wonderful, country came to a halt. But one thing happened during that time that didn't come to a halt. And if you remember, and I hope to God we keep doing this or do it more, all the American flags came out. Everybody had one on their porch, they had them on their cars, they had them on their motorcycles, they had them on their kids' school books. Everybody was flying the flag to show that the unity and that we could not be taken down by some misguided individuals. And I pray that we do that more now. And I don't see it as often as I used to. So I'm asking you to please fly those flags again. I'd also like to speak to the parents a little bit here and say thank you for bringing your children today. A lot of people aren't paying attention today. I noticed in my own neighborhood, I asked my neighborhood kids to come in and watch some of the programming with me, and they're like, my mom doesn't want to watch this. That's bad stuff. And I'm thinking, this is the bad stuff they need to see. They need to understand how our country changed 10 years ago and how their lives are forever changed. They don't even know the difference, but their lives have forever changed. So I want to thank the parents that are here. And I want to ask you to take it upon yourself to teach your children. We can't always leave it up to the schools. We must take it upon ourselves to teach what these brave men and women, whether they were the responders or whether they were in those planes or in those buildings, what they had to endure. I was going to give a little bit of the statistics that Mayor Dietz did, and I'm not going to do that now. You know how many people perished. One statistic I did hear yesterday when I was at Newport Township was that since 9/11, over 500 of our responders have died from lung injuries, from just breathing in all of the soot that was in that air. So there are still people dying that are connected with the attacks on 2011. I have to say one thing about the Round Lake area. I've always said this, and I've always told the mayor this. I love the people of the Round Lake area, and I have to tell you, I really love your fire chief. I've known Paul for a very long time, and you guys have wonderful, wonderful firemen and policemen and rescue people. I would like Paul, if you could please, Chief, if you can come up here just for 1 minute. I won't do anything bad, right? I really appreciate these guys and gals, okay? I really appreciate them. While he's coming up here, I just want to say, please never forget. Thank a veteran, thank a fireman, thank a police chief, thank those Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts and all those leaders, what they're doing, because that was what makes our town and our country great. I talked to Senator Mark Kirk, and I had asked him if he would do me a favor, which he did, and I asked him to fly a flag over Washington so I could pass it on to Chief Mapplethorpe. So Chief, here's a flag via Mark Kirk that he flew for me on April 11th over the Capitol that I would like to give to you. So it's a very sad day, but hopefully you'll go home, start flying those flags a little bit more. Remember don't ever forget what happened. Thank you all for being here.
Good evening. I am Mayor Terry Lumpkin from the village of Round Lake Heights. Our country responded quickly and grounded all the planes. We helped those that were injured, buried our dead, and prepared to go after those that attacked our country. The cowards that attacked our civilians hid in mountains of Afghanistan and Pakistan, often among civilians, to make it often more difficult to take them out without civilian casualties. We, unlike them, do care about killing innocent civilians, making our military's job that much harder and dangerous. Our next speaker was also Lake County Board, seeking a seat in the State House of Representatives. Please join me in welcoming Sandy Cole.
Thank you. It's just a pleasure being here today, seeing so many people here. It's very heartwarming. Today we come together to honor the memories of those who are lost, heal the wounds caused by terrorism and war, and gain a new perspective and outlook by reflecting on that terrible day, September 11th, 2001. From the moment those images flashed on our TV screens, or perhaps you or a loved one was at the site, we know that this event was going to sear into our consciousness, never to be forgotten. But little could we know at that time what a profound impact September 11th, 2001 would have on all of us. A decade later, we are a changed people, we have changed our families, and we are a changed country. This horrible and despicable act was painful for all of us, but we emerged stronger, with a greater appreciation and a renewed focus on life, our family, our neighbors, and our country. I'd like us to remember a little bit about that day. 7:59, American Airlines Flight 11 with 92 people aboard took off from Boston's International Airport en route to Los Angeles. 8:14, United Airlines Flight 175 with 65 people aboard took off from Boston, also headed for Los Angeles. 8:19, flight attendants aboard Flight 11 alerted ground personnel that the plane had been hijacked. 8:20, American Airlines 77 took off from Dulles International Airport near Washington, D.C., headed for Los Angeles with 64 people aboard. 8:41, United Airlines Flight 93 with 44 people aboard takes off from Newark International Airport en route to San Francisco. 8:46. Mohammed Atta and the other hijackers aboard American Airlines Flight 11 crashed the plane into floors 93 through 99 of the North Tower of the World Trade Center, killing everyone on board and hundreds inside the building. 8:47. Within seconds, the New York Police Department and the Fire Department of New York dispatched units to the World Trade Center while the Port Authority police officers on site already started to evacuate the buildings. 9:02. An estimated 10,000 to 14,000 people are already in the process of evacuating. 9:03. Hijackers crashed Flight 175 into floors 75 through 85 of the World Trade Center's South Tower, killing everyone on board and hundreds inside the building. 9:08. The FAA bans all takeoff flights going to and from New York City and through the airspace of New York. 9:21. The Port Authority closes all bridges and tunnels into the New York City area. 9:37. Hijackers aboard Flight 77 crashed into the western facade of the Pentagon in Washington, killing 59 aboard the plane and 125 military and civilian personnel inside the building. 9:42. For the first time in history, the FAA grounds all flights over or bound for the continental United States. Some 3,300 commercial flights and 1,200 private planes are guided to airports in Canada and elsewhere in the United States for 2.5 hours. 9:59, the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapses. 10:07, all passengers and crew members aboard the hijacked Flight 93 contacted friends and family while in flight and learned about the attacks in New York and Washington. They mounted an attempt to retake the plane. In response, hijackers deliberately crashed the plane into a field in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, killing all 40 passengers and crew aboard. 10:28, the World Trade Center North Tower collapses, 102 minutes after being struck by Flight 11. The youngest passenger on the hijacked jets was Christine Hansen. She was 2, on her first trip to Disneyland. The oldest passenger on the hijacked jets was Robert Norton. He was 82. The New York Fire Department lost 343 firefighters, almost half the number of on-duty deaths in the department's 100-year history. The South Tower collapsed at a magnitude of 2.1 on the seismograph. The North Tower collapsed with a magnitude of 2.3. Sirius, one of the first bomb-sniffing canine dogs stationed near the World Trade Center after the 1993 terrorist attack, died in the September 11th attacks. 1.5 million working hours during 261 days were spent removing the debris at the World Trade Center site. The fires at Ground Zero burned for 99 days until December 19th, 2001. Friends and neighbors, I very much appreciate being here today. I wanted just to remember a little bit what that day was like. A lot of us were there watching it on our TV, and I thank you for allowing me to be the part of this unforgivable tribute to those who died so tragically in the terrorist attacks, and they will forever remain in our prayers and our thoughts. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mayor Jean McCue from the village of Round Lake Park. The airlines were chosen by the hijackers for their names, United and American. That's something that's very close to Mayor Dietz and I. At the same time, we have 3 relatives flying on United flights and American flights. They were in the air when the crashes happened. We are so grateful that they are still with us. The Al-Qaeda leadership did not expect Americans to rise up the way we did, standing strong as United Americans. We went after them hard and fast. They saw their leaders being taken out one by one until Osama bin Laden himself was killed in May of this year. No one should ever doubt the resolve of the American military. Our men and women in uniform will defend America to the end. Many gave their lives in this war on terror, and many more have been hit. It is not over yet, but the enemy has been beaten back. The fire department is one of the first ones called out during a disaster.
privilege to be before you this evening on behalf of all of the men and women of the Greater Round Lake. The men and women of today's fire service are confronted with a more dangerous work environment than ever before. We are forced to continually change our strategies and tactics to meet new challenges, confront new threats, and accomplish our tasks. Methods may change, but our goal remains the same: to save lives and to protect property, sometimes at a terrible cost. This is what we do. This is our chosen profession. This is the tradition of a firefighter. While the fire service today is ever changing, it is also steeped in traditions more than 200 years old. One such tradition is the sounding of the bell. In the past, as firefighters began their tour of duty, it was the bell that signaled the beginning of that day's shift. Through the day and night, each alarm was sounded by a bell, which summoned those brave souls to fight fires and to place their lives in jeopardy for the good of their fellow citizens. And when the fire was out and the alarm had come to an end, it was the bell that signaled to all the completion of the call. When a firefighter died, it was the mournful toll of the bell that solemnly announced a firefighter's passing. We utilize these traditions as symbols which reflect honor and respect on those who have given so much and who have served so well, to symbolize the devotion that these brave souls had for their duty. A special signal of 3 rings, 3 times each, represents the end of our fellow firefighters' duties, and that they will be returning to quarters for the last time. The terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 forever changed the landscape of our great nation. In addition to the 2,492 innocent civilians that perished that day in New York City, Arlington, Virginia, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, 343 firefighters, 60 police officers, 55 members of the armed forces, and 8 paramedics gave the ultimate sacrifice, performing their duties, protecting their fellow citizens, even in the face of grave personal danger. Today we are gathered here not only to remember the atrocities of 10 years ago, but to remember all first responders and members of the armed forces that have selflessly devoted and sacrificed their lives for the good of their fellow citizens throughout our great nation. Their task completed, their duties done. To honor our fallen brethren, this last alarm.
Our police also puts themselves between us and those that cause us harm. They willingly go into situations that are dangerous to protect us and our families from that danger. They often see the dark underbelly of our society that few of us know to exist. Today we honor the men and women of our police departments for their selfless acts to save the lives of others. Please stand and commence with a 21-gun salute.
Kauffman, podium.
You would have thought the world would have learned on December 7th, 1941, that attacking any part of America is an attack on all America. Amen? They didn't learn it then, and they haven't learned it yet. But it wasn't an attack on New York, it was an attack on every American. And the reality is that, and I said to Senator Cole sitting up here, I said, do you realize how special a gathering like this is? Just think about it. We take it for what? Granted. But here we are. We've got our state representatives. Our Congressman Walsh would have been here, but he couldn't. We go down the checklist. Our police, our fire, our police chiefs, our mayors, our trustees. You go down the checklist of all of us working together to make a good life for everyone. Our boys and girls over here. Who's our future? Our boys and our girls. They're here. Just look around and realize that in most places in the world this couldn't happen. That we are truly one people. Is that fair? And the thing the world doesn't understand, you'd think they would after 200 years, but they haven't caught on, that we can disagree with each other. We can take extremely different points of view, but it's all for one cause, because we truly believe it's best for America, and friends can disagree. Amen? Now, one of the things, when we think about this, is in our Constitution, we are guaranteed. Notice the word I just used. What was the word I just used? Guaranteed the right of our religion. That we can practice what we want, or we can not practice it if we want. That's America, do you see? And so as we come for this little prayer gathering, the fact of the matter is, my invitation is to, in your own mind, in your own way, whatever your faith tradition, that's where I want you to be. And if you don't have a faith tradition, that's where I want you to be. Because this isn't just any country. It's what? America. And we are all in this together. And I think Lincoln said it the best. I use it over and over again at Gettysburg. That battle was fought, as every battle since, that the government of the people, for the people, by the people, should not perish. And we want to hand this into the hands of our boys and girls over there. So when they're adults, they will also be adults in the land of what? The free. And when you think about it, Francis Scott Key, standing on the British ship watching the bombardment, said, it's the home of the free and the land of the brave. And let me tell you something, you can't be free and not be brave. Amen? Now let's give our police, our fire, our military, all of our servants, public servants, a big hand. Let's just pause for a moment of prayer. Holy God, a grateful people remembers another attack on a free people. We thank you for all of those who this very day stand the picket lines wherever they are, so that people like us can gather here safely and freely. And may our little children grow up believing that freedom is so important. They will become our police, our fire. They will become our senators, our congressmen. They will become our mayors. They will take the snowplows. They will do the repairs on the roads and the bridges. They will be part of what makes this land what it is, the home of the free. But we better be brave, Lord, because the world would take it from us in an instant. And everyone said, amen. Amen.
And now please join me as the Round Lake High School Choir sings the Star Spangled Banner.
We
Please be seated. Today I'd also like to recognize Mark Justin. Mark, want to wave your hand up and down a little bit? Mark responded to the call for help out in New York City. He was out there for a long time. He helped the families. He helped identify the victims. He did a major part. He went in the area where it was very, very difficult for anyone to walk into. But he did it. It was his job, and he knew how to do it well. And he served a lot of time there. The banner you see up along the white banner with all the names, Mark brought that today. That was given to him by the families. Many of them made personal notes on that after all the cleanup was complete and he came home. It's an honor for him to have that. It's an honor for him to be here tonight and to join us. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate you being here. We will have some refreshments inside. There's also a video playing that Mark had brought also, so make sure you do stop inside afterwards. But in closing, I'd like to recognize some of the Scout organizations that are here tonight. We have Cub Scout Pack 199. We have Boy Scout Troop 275. And the Girl Scouts, we have Troop Daisies at 41745. We have Brownies 41266. Brownies 40905. Brownies 40635, Girl Scouts 326, Brownies 43653, and Troop 41450. We also have our Miss Round Lake areas here today helping out. Thank you very much for helping with that. And of course, Mobile Eye, who's always there for us. These guys in the bright outfits here. As some of the other speakers have said, please be sure to always remember and assure their children the horrors that were brought upon us by the Al-Qaeda. We can never turn a blind eye to the extremists for any cause when they threaten our security and safety as a nation. Thank you all for coming here tonight, and God bless.